Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 51st part of What If Deku Was Sanji's Reincarnation, My Heroes Reborn. The author of this great fanfic is Izuku. Links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 51, Hell Camp. Izuku had seen that many of Class 1B was passing out from a gas cloud that was in the forest. He also saw that Toru and Kyoka managed to escape the gas cloud despite being near it. That was when Izuku saw something that almost made him vomit. Midoriya! Yelled Ida. There's many villains in the forest, including Inomu. Said Izuku, looking at them with observation. Hockey makes me sick. Are you sure? Asked Mandalay. Izuku nodded. So there's more. Said Mandalay. Izuku nodded. That was when Ida took out his transceiver. Something that Hibiki told them back on Island. Flashback. It was sometime after the barbecue and Hibiki had asked the therapy group and Ida to meet up with him to talk. Okay. Said Hibiki, I'm sure you noticed that thing Aiko did during the incident. Why didn't you tell us about it? Asked Momo. Many reasons. Said Hibiki. The big one was that we were worried that you might end up abusing it. Said Aiko. Why would we abuse it? Asked Mashireo. Because you're teenagers and you might get lazy. Said Aiko. This just made the sick sweat drop. Only use it in emergencies, but it's emergency procedure 2320, all devices with Aiko in a certain vicinity will activate with her. Don't worry, I still don't know my limits to how many devices I can be on at the same time. Said Aiko, also if it's no emergency I will give whoever did the silent treatment for a few days, got it? The six looked at each other, unsure how to respond to that threat. And if you do it so that I would leave you alone for a few days, I will do the opposite. Said Aiko, realizing what the looks on their faces was saying, and I shall be extra annoying. Yeah. Said Hibiki, so don't try it for the sake of that. End of flashback. Ida activated the Aiko button. Okay, this better not be. Said Aiko as it was activated, then she could tell what was going on. Good call. Aiko. Emergency procedure 2320. Said Ida. On it. Said Aiko. Pirate boy checking in. Said Aiko from Izuku's transceiver. Lost boy checking in. Said Aiko transceiver. Mama cat checking. Said Aiko from the transceiver that Mandalay was holding. Buff cat checking in, said Aiko from Tiger's transceiver. Sexy cat checking in. Said Aiko from Pixie Bob's transceiver, though I really shouldn't be. Meanwhile at a building that the ones who failed the exam, including Monoma, were at, the transceivers that the two teachers were holding. David Lynch checking in. Said Aiko from Aizawa. The Count checking in. Said Aiko from the transceiver of the other homeroom teacher for Class 1B, a rather muscular hero with white hair and large fang who could control his blood. Kirishima and Kaminari were concerned, while the rest, which included Monoma, were just confused. Aiko, what's going on? Said Aizawa, grabbing the transceiver. Mandalay would be a better person to explain everything. Mainly because I can only reach a handful of students right now and half of the ones with me are with the pussycats. Explained Aiko. That was when Mandalay activated her quirk. Everyone. Said her voice in everyone's minds as her quirk gave her a form of one-way telepathy. There are villains attacking. According to Midoriya, there are multiple villains in the forest including Inomu. Everyone in the room was surprised, though Monoma was confused by how Izuku could know that thing. Izuku's past life abilities are insane. Mumbled Kaminari. Yeah, well you weren't there for the freak out. Mumbled Mina. Please go back to the camp. And do not engage the villains. Said Mandalay, please remain safe. Wait. Aiko. Tell her that the students can engage if they have to. But not to seek out trouble. Said Aizawa to Aiko. Got it. Said Aiko. Thankfully there was another telepathic. Hold on. Aizawa is giving permission to engage if you have to. But not to seek out trouble. Repeated Mandalay. Vlad. I'm going out. You watch them. Said Aizawa, but first. How many of you know Aiko? Only Kaminari and Kirishima raised their hands. Aizawa looked at his transceiver. Kaminari met me in an incident I'd rather not talk about, and Kirishima met me during that Island incident. Explained Aiko. I see. Said Aizawa, who then left with Vlad King taking care of the students. Back with the wild pussycats. Izuku recovered from seeing the Nomu while both Mashireo and Ida reassured him. They remembered how reacted to that one Nomu after all. Wait. Isn't that the kid that priestess warned us about? Asked the one with the strange weapon who was using it to hold down an unconscious pixie bob. Yeah, the one that Stain saved. Said the lizard-like man. You know, she warned us that he was so powerful to not engage him unless we had a death wish. Said the one holding Pixie Bob. Don't worry, Sis Magna, I had no intention of fighting him. Said the lizard man. The lizard man looked at the assembled group. The name's Spinner and we're with the Vanguard Action Squad of the League of Villains. Said the lizard-like man named Spinner. He looked at Ida in particular. Wait. I know you, you're one of the ones who went after Stain. Said Spinner. So you're one Stain's followers. Muttered Ida. Yes. I am, and I plan to carry on his goal. And kill all false heroes. Said Spinner, revealing his weapon, a giant sword made up of smaller swords. As Tiger scolded the two villains for what they've done to Pixie Bob, Mandalay looked at the 5 students. You need to head back to camp now. Said Mandalay, only engage if you have to. Wait. I know where Kota is. Said Izuku. Mandalay looked at him and nodded. And Izuku Sky walked to Kota's location. However, the other 4 headed to camp. As they towards camp, they were hit by a red light. All 4 of them fell to the ground as they were in tremendous pain. What was that? Asked Mashireo. That was when they heard crazed laughter filled the air. The red-haired woman made herself known to the 4. I found one. I found one. She ranted. She started to laugh in a crazed way. Shit. This is bad. Said Aiko from Mashireo's bracelet. Why, who is she? Asked Mashireo, recovering from the strange attack. She's known as Righteous Fury, she was a hero. Said Aiko, now she's won the Lost Souls. Lost Souls? Asked Ida, also recovering. That's what they call the ones that were hit by Priestess and became villains. Said Aiko, and she wants to kill those who were able to remain heroes. Both Mineta and Kota were both still in Pien, but Mashireo and Ida were managing to recover and saw the crazed woman look at them. Meanwhile in the forest, both Toru and Kyoka were breathing heavily. I don't know how you were able to know about that gas, but thanks. Said Kyoka. No problem. Said Toru, do you mean to explain or not, because whenever I explain people and ponies tend to get weirded out. Probably not a good idea to explain. Said Kyoka. Best leave it alone. Said Aiko. However, that was when Kyoka suddenly heard someone headed towards him. Someone's coming. Said Kyoka. That was when suddenly something hit nearby trees. And suddenly the branches of the trees fell off around them. Toru looked at saw playing cards embedded in the trees. Playing cards? She thought. So of all people I found one of the incarnations, that's a lucky. Said the man in the garish suit walking towards them. Damn it! Yelled Aiko, another one. What do you mean another one? Asked Kyoka. Jack attack. He's a lost soul. Said Aiko, one of Priestess' victim who became a villain. This is bad then. Said Toru, taking out a party bazooka. You have no idea. Said Jack Attack with a deranged smile. With Izuku he was skywalking and he saw that a villain was attacking Kota, which was also bad. Just a heads up. Aizawa, Toru and the group you left behind read dealing with villains. Said Aiko, when you fight him don't expect backup. I thought so. Said Izuku. Don't worry. I'll provide all the help you'll need. Said Aiko. Translation, I'll help you through your mental blocks. Izuku nodded as he managed to grab Kota out of the way of the villain's attack. However, there was a problem when he did that. The transceiver fell out of his pocket and off the cliff. You have got to be kidding me! Yelled Aiko as it fell off the cliff. That's not good. Said Izuku. He knew that the transceiver was fine. I'll get that back later. Said Izuku, but for Kota. Don't worry. I got this. I'll protect you no matter what. Kota was just crying, not just because of the villain attacking him but also because of who the villain was. The villain that murdered his parents. You're Midoriya, right? Asked the Vile who went by Muscular. You're the one that Shigaraki once dead and Priestess warned not to underestimate. She said that about me? Asked Izuku. Flashback. Look, just a heads up. If you go against Midoriya it will be Fubar. So be careful, his past life comes from a world where the strongest of the strong makes All Might look like a feeble old man. The only ones that stand a chance are me, Toga and Bella. Said Priestess, the rest of you are fucked. The other villains just stared at Priestess. End of flashback. Well, not in those words. Muttered Muscular. He used his quirk which let increase his muscle to increase his speed and strength so much that its skin couldn't even contain it. He then punched Izuku, who managed to block with a hockey-covered leg. What? Asked Muscular, who wasn't expecting that. Tell me, what are you doing here? Asked Izuku as he sparked with full cowling. Well, I was planning to get answers eventually. Said Muscular, tell me where Bakugo is. Why do you want him? Asked Izuku. So you don't know where he is? Said Muscular. Izuku didn't answer. He did know where he was. In fact, he had gotten into a fight with one of the villains. But he wasn't going to tell him that. He kept up both kind of hockey. He had to dodge the punches and blocked with his hockey-covered leg. Damn it. He thought, what am I forgetting now? But he did remember one thing as he dodged and blocked. But that was when he saw an opening. All for one. 100%. Hockey shoot. He called out. He discovered a harsh kick to Muscular that caused an explosion that knocked Kota off the cliff. Thanks, Izuku caught him in time. Sorry about that. Said Izuku, I should have been paying more attention. That was... Said Kota, unsure how to respond. Yeah, we need to find the transceiver. Said Izuku, then head back to camp. However, Izuku froze. What's wrong? Asked Kota. Izuku used his legs to block. However, the punch sent him flying. No. Whimpered Kota. You know. I was expecting more, but I guess I was wrong. Said Muscular. He walked towards Izuku, who was laying on the ground bleeding. I guess you can't stand up to my quirk. Said Muscular. That was when Kota tossed a rock at him, stopping Muscular. Are you the one who killed my parents? Cried Kota, the water hose duo. You're their kid? Asked Muscular, oh, this must be fate. So you are the one. Cried Kota. Izuku started to get up. He was shaking, however, he was breathing heavily. I can't do anything more. He thought, I can't hold back. He took a breath. He thought he back to when he learned that Bakugo was trying to better himself. He looked around, he could sense it, everyone was going to give their all. And he couldn't hold back anymore. I am strong, because everyone will get hurt if I keep holding back. He shouted. The thought of everyone getting hurt because of him holding back caused him to erupt in flames. That's right. said Izuku. I remember everything now. Kota saw Izuku get up and bathed in flames. Muscular stared at Izuku. I thought you had a strength quirk, he said. I do, but this is from my past life. I thought you knew since you're dealing with priestess, responded Izuku. He then practically disappeared and delivered a flaming kick that was combined with hockey. Muscular hit the wall so hard that it cracked. However, he seemed to recover somewhat. How? Growled Muscular, I'm not supposed to feel pain. I guess I'm just able to hit the right spot, said Izuku with a shrug. That doesn't make any sense, yelled Muscular. My past life didn't make any sense, said Izuku. What does that mean? Asked Muscular. He glared at Izuku and covered his entire body in muscle fibers. Izuku glared at Musical. He looked at Kota. I know the best memory to make this work, he thought. The memory of when his mother from his first life had died and all that followed afterwards. The green flames had gotten bigger. He then channeled his quirk into his leg at the same time as using his hockey. Hell memory smash! He yelled out. A large plume of green fire erupted from this. Almost everyone around the forest who was conscious had seen it. Damn it, Deku! Yelled Bakugo. Todoroki just sighed at this reaction. With Toru, who was glaring at the Jack attack when they saw the green flames. Although it was invisible, Toru was smiling brightly because she knew what it meant. It about time, said Toru. With Mashireo, Ida, Kota, and Mineta, they also saw the green fire. He finally got over his block, said Mashireo, getting that feeling it well. Ida nodded as they looked at Righteous Fury. Priestess at that green flame and sighed. Honestly, who was the idiot? She muttered. Back on that cliff, Muscular crashed into other rock wall, clearly unconscious and heavily burned. Izuku turned to Kota. Kota just looked at him, crying and in disbelief. Izuku had saved him, after everything, and not knowing him that well. Though Izuku didn't seem that injured, he still risked his life for Kota. Still, what was more important was that Izuku finally got over his mental blocks. He just needed the right moment. But still, there was still a lot of danger and a lot of villains in that forest, and who knew what was going to happen. Especially now that Izuku knew who the target was. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 52. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.